Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Fond du Lac Area Women's Fund's Project Table Talk. It's an educational series dedicated to topics that sometimes would not be brought out into the public, but we're here to talk about them. I'm Maria Turner, the Executive Director of the Fond du Lac Area Women's Fund, and I'm joined today as the facilitator of today's show. I'm joined today by several guests. We have Amber Kilawee, who is the Executive Director of the Fond du Lac Area United Way, as well as one of her board members, Erin Brendelson. And then we also have Jeff Pullman Becker, who represents the Ripon Area United Way as one of their board members. And today we're going to be talking about a collaboration amongst the agencies that are here today, as well as the Dodge County United Way, related to serving the need of providing girls in Fond du Lac County throughout various school districts with the basic need of menstrual products. We're gearing up for our second annual That Time Menstrual Product Drive, which became an idea last year brought forward by the United Way here in Fond du Lac to address some concerns that they were seeing within the Fond du Lac School District with period poverty, girls coming in, not having the resources, the financial resources available to buy period products, and sometimes missing school. And we'll get into that a little bit. But the drive last year coincided with United Way's annual Day of Action, and it will again this year. That will occur on June 21st. And let's get started. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about the drive and what we plan to do here in Fond du Lac County. So Erin, it's my understanding that you, as a board member of the United Way in Fond du Lac here, brought this issue to Amber's attention based on some of the things that you had experienced as a guidance counselor. Can you share a little bit about what you were seeing within the schools?
Yeah, actually, it was my role as the nurse, lead nurse there. I was working with youth at the Fond du Lac School District at the time, and we just had several nurses coming, asking, do we have different resources of obtaining supplies? And it kind of got me down this rabbit hole of checking out statistics. What are they seeing? State, county, nationwide, and there are a lot of statistics out there on period poverty. Just noting that, about 1 out of 4 youth have access difficulty. And then I kind of went down the road of how does that affect their school life? Because that was kind of my role there too. We definitely were seeing that, and so brought it to Amber just in hopes to eliminate that, helping kids feel more comfortable coming when they have their periods, and knowing that no matter what, whether they have their own or not, they have a place to go to obtain it.
When Amber brought this to me as a potential collaborative partner last year, I was a little taken off guard by the whole idea that this was an issue. I had seen and heard drives that were happening in third world countries, and certainly I understood how that would be a need for women and girls in those countries. But to think that this was happening here in the United States and here in Fond du Lac County was very surprising to me. And then the other piece of it that, I thought, wow, I had never really taken the time to think about was the shame and embarrassment a girl might experience when she doesn't have the availability of those products, and then just choosing to stay home, during that week, and then missing all of that school and so forth. So, Amber, when you heard about this and reached out to me, and we got the wheels rolling pretty quickly last year in 2021, tell me why you thought this was a worthy activity to undertake, and whether or not it surprised you, and kind of how you thought the United Way could get involved right away with that Day of Action.
Yeah, absolutely, Maria. Well, first, as you as nonprofit director, when your board member comes to you and says, can you help? Can we help? Your answer is yes. And we're going to figure out how to do it. We're going to find the partners. We're going to problem solve, right? We're going to create a solution because that's what we do. That's what we're known for, in the community. That's what we're known for throughout the nation. So, United Way likes to jump in there and let's try to be innovative. But most importantly, let's try to partner with an organization. So it was a natural fit, Maria, for us to reach out to you all just with women and girls and, really making sure that, you guys have some overlapping areas, and income stability is one of the areas. United Way focuses on health education and financial stability, and really you could look at this in two ways. And Erin said the same thing. She goes, golly, we could take this from our educational pillar to your point, Maria, about these gals having to potentially miss school. And that's not even, talking about, I just think of my, experience as a young girl, having, my period for the first time, and like, just thinking of like the cramping and not feeling well. I never, fortunately, had to have any issues with access, but, that was a while ago. Things were just, these products have gotten just so much more expensive, so thinking of not being able to go to school because of, just not having access to the products, I was a little shocked as well. But I also know, being a woman, that these products are not inexpensive, right? So, I think of myself, I'm the only gal in my home, so I'm only buying these products for myself. And sometimes I'm like, holy vey, like I'll look for like, buy one, get one 50, like I'm looking for deals, too, because these things, these products are expensive. So you think of a family that has a couple of gals who are, having their period, and, these things add up. So, yeah, Maria, it was a natural fit. Our board, Erin did a quick presentation to our executive committee, and our board was full on. There was no doubt that this was the trajectory we wanted to take. And it was pretty easy to get people signed up to participate. We had donations coming in before, we really made the official ask, because this really compelled people, particularly when we said, when we gave some of those statistics that Erin had equipped us with, people were really concerned about the having, gals having to miss school, and really having, feeling that sense of shame that they would have to go, and maybe they didn't have a rapport or a real close connection, with their nurse or their counselor. Maybe they're newer to the district, where they wouldn't say, oh, Mrs. Bendelson, I'm really in a way, and, I'm really seeking that, this type of assistance, and people wouldn't always know. Maybe the school does have that, maybe they don't. So I really think it was a natural fit for United Way to say yes to this.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. I agree. We also have a couple of pillars here at the Women's Fund that this hits upon as well. So we have education, we have health and well-being that we added last year. So certainly it fits within that. And then the economic self-sufficiency piece. And, even beyond the inability to buy products, sometimes you're just caught off guard, right? Like I remember one time when I was in 6th grade, not a good situation, right? And I was so embarrassed and afraid to go to anybody. And I remember just spending the whole day like trying to put my books behind me, and like I didn't reach out for any help. Like I didn't know what to do. Of course, a different generation and a different time. Would we be having this conversation 30, 40 years ago? Probably not. So I'm appreciative that we are able to bring the education component of this and have a conversation to say, girls, you do not need to feel shame about this. This is something that happens to everyone that is born with a uterus, and you go on. And we've all made mistakes. We've all, or it's not a mistake. You're just sometimes caught off guard and think you have something available to you, and then you go and you don't. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to help with this again. So year 2 of the drive, Amber did some networking, and she was able to engage all the public and private school districts inside Fond du Lac County, not including the Fond du Lac School District, because the good news was year 1 of the drive, we obtained something like almost 900 packages of product. So that was able to make it through the current school year that we're in, and will probably be plenty for next school year for the Fond du Lac School District. So kudos to the community for stepping up in year one. I love that. And so we're really excited about expanding this out into some of the rural schools, which is why Jeff is here with us today representing the Ripon Area United Way. They're going to be taking part, and Dodge County for the Waupun School District, which is in Fond du Lac County, is also linked into the drive this year. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about United Way's annual Day of Action, because we're tying this in and we've got 3 of our local United Ways involved, and why you felt this was a worthy opportunity to partner.
The Ripon United Way is somewhat unique. It's the only local United Way in Fond du Lac County, wherever the history came from there. And it's an all volunteer board. And we have local partners with really the expertise and resources to meet the needs of this community. So much of the work that we do is really done with and through our partners. And Amber called me and said, she sent this to me and said, remind me to talk to you about this. And I have the brochure, and I sure enough talked to her and said, tell me more about this. The brochure was pretty straightforward, but tell me more about it. And I have 5 sisters. So I grew up in a house knowing that these surprises happen, and they're not the kind of surprises anybody wants. And I also ran a children's camp for many years, for 26 years, and it happened at camp too. And hearing Amber tell the story about children, young people at school who are caught off guard, either weren't expecting, first time weren't expecting, or didn't have the resources in their home to be able to have a regular supply of the needs of menstrual products that they would need, really seemed to strike us as a need that we could help fill in this community. So we're thrilled to be partnering with both Fond du Lac Area United Way and the Dodge County for Waupun, that we can cover the whole county and make sure that our schools, and more importantly, the young ladies in our schools, have products available, and hoping they will be brave enough to ask for help instead of embarrassed, that we need to take the stigma away. And we need to educate our boys about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was complimenting you, Jeff, for coming on and wading into this topic with some women. And I love that. I think that the more that men can feel comfortable discussing conversations that are related to women's health or other women's issues, all the better. So Amber, let's talk a little bit about logistics for this year's drive. First, in terms of which school districts will benefit this year. Let's hear the list. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so we're partnering with Oakfield, North Fond du Lac, St. Mary Springs, Ripon, Waupun, Campbellsport. Don't forget about my friends out in Campbellsport. Maria, am I missing any? Those are the ones that come to my mind right off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure we might have a couple of other ones in there, but I think those are the bulk of the school districts that are participating.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned maybe some smaller charter schools and some parochial schools in there as well. So just pretty much anyone who needs access this year, we're trying to fulfill that need. So that's exciting. Also on the side of logistics is places where people can drop off their donations of the products. So we were fortunate to have a wonderful donation from Menasha Corporation of 25 cardboard bins that we're placing throughout the county. Jeff, can you fill up the listeners in on where they can find those bins scattered around our communities?
It's going to be kind of hard to go around some of these communities and not see one of these. In Fond du Lac, the Fond du Lac Women's Fund, the Annie's Fountain City, Festival of Foods, Fond du Lac Area United Way, Hair Lounge, Piggly Wiggly, 2 Pick and Save locations, Soroptimist Linda Usselman, Marine Park Technical College, Pilgrim United Church of Christ. In Oakfield, there's Katie's Log Cabin and the library. North Fond du Lac is Spillman Library. Beans and Bites. In Campbellsport, there's Piggly Wiggly, Blue Door, and the Public Library. And in Ripon, it's the 3 places where you would buy those supplies, Webster's Marketplace, Walgreens, and Ripon Drug.
Wow, that is awesome to have that many participants. It just shows the wide breadth of interest and involvement in this. And I just love that. I mean, when you're talking about this idea of a day of action, getting lots of people motivated and wanting to support a cause, it's awesome. So I'm happy for the legwork I know that you all have done in engaging those community partners. And so that is an excellent list, which we will also post in the information below this video so that people will have that readily available. Now, another piece that we're trying to address this year in year 2 has to do with education. So I did some research because I got to thinking last year when we were in the course of the really quick planning. I think we brought this together in 3 weeks last year, Amber. So we didn't have a ton of time to think strategically, but we've had time in between to think about what are ways that we could maybe develop this beyond giving the products themselves. And so naturally, education is a component of everything that all of our organizations do. And so I got to thinking, well, maybe there was a brochure or something that we could include with handing out the products at some point. I did a little research. I found this really interesting organization in the United Kingdom that produces a whole deck of cards that covers all kinds of things related to women's periods and reproductive health and, all kinds of things associated with that. Don't think we can go that big, the 52 cards a piece, but was thinking that maybe we could come up with a smaller set of cards, perhaps 8 cards, put them on a keychain, hand those out to the girls when they come and ask for the products, because again, that's another aspect that may not be being talked about at home with these young people. Again, I'm in a different generation, but I remember pulling the the instructions out. My mom did not walk me through this. I had the education in 5th grade, like so many people do about that. But that was a one-time shot, right? Like you kind of need an ongoing education. I mean, Amber, you and I have talked about things related to menopause, right? Like, so it's from the time you get your period till the time that you're done with your period that you're just wondering, like, okay, what is this all about? So Erin, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you might have seen working in a school setting about the education component of that. Are we on track in recognizing that could be a piece of this program?
Yeah, I think that we could definitely work with the schools. I know that this education doesn't always just land in the nurse's hand. We have gym teachers, regular, like the K through 5 or, even middle school health teachers that are doing the education. And that's what I love so much about partnering with United Way and the Women's Fund, is just that I don't necessarily think that this is just a school district responsibility. I think it's a community responsibility to educate not only, like Jeff said, not only the girls, but also the boys, because there are statistics out there too that, it's like 80% of girls feel the need that they need to hide their product when they have to get up and go to the bathroom because they don't want anybody to know, even though this is something that is going to affect every girl in our community at some point in their lives. So I think reducing that stigma and educating everybody is really important, not splitting it up. It shouldn't be just an education that the girls get. So I think the schools would be more than willing to take any education that we can provide, any resources that we have to hand out, and to spread that out to the community. Where are the places that the kids go? Are there other places that in the future we could work with that might need help with access to these products as well?
I have to just mention on the education side of things, Erin, you made me chuckle because last year Maria and I were like, okay, well, obviously for the sake of impact, you know, and putting those numbers out to the community and thanking donors for their cash donations, but, you know, but also product donations, we need to get a handle on how many products we have. So my son and his friend from school, a gal, started counting that. I'm like, well, let's separate them into, you know, we had cups and we had pads and we had panty liners and pads. And my son was like so proud. He's like, Mom, now I know the difference between like a package of pads and a package of tampons. You know, and I'd like to think of myself as like fairly, you know, proactive in that, and knowing that like, hey, my children are being, you know, raised by a mom who has her period, right? Mm-hmm. Surprise. You are here on this planet because of that very fact. So, you know, let's like drop the stigma. And, you know, I've actually encouraged my kiddos to say things like, you know, they could be a little embarrassed to say things to like a gal themselves, but if heaven forbid, you know, been there, maybe had a leak, or, you know, like you said, Maria, like, holy smokes, like 6th grade, like who doesn't have that 6th grade moment, and maybe multiple times, not just 6th grade. So, you know, instead of like not saying anything, you know, perhaps you could say to the teacher, you know, this is such and such, Mr. such and such, you know, and just mention that to them. So you're not like, and then heaven forbid, like, you know, people are, you know, saying something to the student, you know, and, you know, making them feel bad. I think sometimes just, you know, having the confidence to be able to say something, you know, to somebody. But it was quite the educational experience, and we just have kind of normalized that. So it was funny because we took a trip to Target, and he goes, oh, yep, pads, yep, tampons. You know, he was just like so proud that he could like discern, you know, one from the other. I'm like, yes, like this is what we need to be doing. So I'm like, spread the word, buddy, to all your all your guy friends, you know, like, let's not make it, you know, feel the shame, blame, and judgment, you know, for something so incredibly natural.
Well, even more than that, those boys, and kudos to you and your son, but we ought to raise boys that are the kind of kids that give a girl a sweatshirt, a long sweatshirt or something, and helps her. That you need to not be afraid and not be embarrassed, and certainly not giggle with your boyfriends.
That's right.
But really be the kind of upstanding citizen that helps people when they need help.
Absolutely.
Speaking of education too, we should note here that there are some boys that actually have periods these days too within the LGBTQ community. So this, from the perspective of the Women's Fund and the service to women and girls, we focus a great deal on that sort of language. But I don't want to be remiss in mentioning that this is a topic that can spill into for boys that still have uteruses and would potentially have their periods as well. So just want to make that point of education as well. Amber, if folks would like to donate toward the educational component of this drive, can you let them know how to do that? We have a text to give, and is there some other means that they can do that as well?
Yes, so folks can send donations, monetary donations to United Way as kind of the fiscal agent here. Our address is 74 South Main Street, Suite 201. But last year we really had success, Maria, I would say largely with reaching, you know, first-time donors, folks that had, you know, seen the flyer with our text to give. And that is it's so easy. I mean, I'm a text to give kind of person all the way. Like if I have to open my checkbook, oh my goodness, it's like a whole journey, you know? So you can text, help me remember the keyword, Maria. Is it that time?
I think it's just time.
Just time. Okay. Time keyword to 26989. Just that short text code 26989. And then it'll prompt you. We will have it all set up. It'll send you an auto receipt. Then you'll know that your gift was received, and that'll come right to us. Last year, we had a wonderful board member, Ishaman Harris, and his wife drove up to Costco. They were able to purchase the items with the money that we received, and really, you know, get a good bang for our buck, because they just brought back so many supplies. So it was really fantastic. So that is an easy way to give if you're not out and about, you know, shopping at that time, or you're like, oh my goodness, how did I just go to festival and totally forget, you know, to buy some products and, you know, put in the bin. Text to give is a super easy way, and it'll have, you know, an equal impact as giving product.
Awesome. Amber, one last thing, was there a couple of community groups that you had told me are planning on doing some work surrounding this? Service League, Seroptimus, I think you had
Seroptimus.
mentioned.
Yep. Seroptimus participated last year and they did a stellar job. I mean, this is within their wheelhouse, similar to the Women's Fund and supporting women and girls. They have, multiple pillars, they're an international organization. But when I reached out to Linda Uselman, my contact with Seroptimus, and she said, you got it. They collected, we brought them actually a bin, Linda collected. And then, yes, we reached out to Jennifer Walters within Service League. They're very interested in participating as well. Similar, approach to support women and girls in our community. And then actually Jennifer's workplace, Advocate Aurora, was going to be on board as well and have a box that folks can make donations right there at their workplace.
Good. Yeah, great community involvement just all around, which is just so good. So good when you see something that everyone in today's day and age, when we're so divided on so many different issues, that if we can rally around something like a period, like that actually fires me up. So I hope everybody else does too, right?
But as you pointed out, 30 years ago, we wouldn't have said the word. Now we have a podcast about it.
I know, it feels good, as a parent of two girls to be able to, just be so much more open than my mom was with me on so many topics, right? And then to see my girls take those little kernels of information coupled with what they learn in schools and community groups, Girl Scouts, things like that, and where they are as a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old, like I'm like blown away. Like I learn things from them on a regular basis that I can't take credit for, but I get a little bit of credit for starting it off, but they've really expanded on that. And that's so cool to see because, the less shame that we have associated with all kinds of topics, the better. I just think it's going to make our communities so much stronger and people care. And that's what humanity is about, right? Just caring about other people and helping other people out. So, all right, we're going to do it here in Fond du Lac County on United Way's National Day of Caring on June 21st. The drive itself actually is going to be for an entire week. So you don't have to get out on that Tuesday, the 21st. It's from the 19th through the 26th. And I think at Moraine Park, they'll have their bins a week beyond that, if I remember correctly. And they are having theirs in their campuses here in Fond du Lac as well as Dodge County. So lots and lots of places in participation to get your products in, and we're hoping people take part. And that ends our conversation today. Thank you to all my guests, Jeff, Amber, and Aaron, for coming on and talking about this important topic and this important need in our community. I am so appreciative of the work that all of you do within your spaces and engaging your boards and engaging other people that you work with in topics like this, but all kinds of issues that we're all involved in. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to the listeners today, and I encourage everyone to join us again here on Thursday, June 23rd, where we will be having a conversation about Fond du Lac's annual Pride Picnic, an exciting event that's coming up here at the end of June, and we're going to talk and find out more about that as well. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.